think they need to change Dyche, to be honest. They need a fresh approach. He's been there a few years, done a good job, but I just think for them, the way they play is kind of like been sussed out in the Prem.
But the biggest disappointment for me was I was watching the Cameroon Burkina Faso game, and the wife wanted to watch the Arsenal game, so I had to turn over. And that was the biggest disappointment of my whole afternoon.
Very well said, Mr. Angry.
I mean, that was woo. That was.
That's what I said.
Martins.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Grassroots Chats, episode 22. How's everybody doing? Mr. Thanos, how you looking? Repping the jersey? You feeling all good after a wonderful result?
It wasn't a wonderful result, but I'm doing all right.
Good.
Recovering from COVID, but I'm all right.
You're good. We're happy that you're healthy. Mr. Chris Waddle Hinder, what's going on? You had a good time? How's everything going? Enjoy the FA Cup weekend?
Yeah. And the African Cup of Nations started as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, see, it was sport for football, sport for choice. And Man City was in your town the other evening. You get to go?
I didn't go. I did watch it, but I didn't go.
Okay, cool. And, of course, ladies and gentlemen, the angry one.
It's not, man.
How's it going? You had a good week? You recovered fully from COVID?
Yeah, but the boys let me down today, innit? They let me down big time.
Don't worry. Something tells me you should be used to it. But anyways, we should start and then let's see how this goes. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you hear, please watch, like, subscribe, join us, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and of course on YouTube. So ladies and gentlemen, as Neil said, the FA Cup has started. Cameroon, the host, starting with winning ways, beating Burkina Faso 2-1, 2 penalties.
Wait, Cameroon are in the FA Cup, are they? Oh, that's strange.
Now, did I say FA Cup or Nations Cup?
The FA Cup, man.
You said FA Cup. I was thinking
okay.
you were on about for the Prem teams.
I was making sure you guys were listening. So the Nations Cup has started, and of course Cameroon, the host, starting with winning ways 2-1 to them. And at the moment, Ethiopia is playing Cape Verde, and I think Cape Verde is leading 1-0. But before we go to the African Nations Cup, which we will, ladies and gentlemen, you can catch us on our future show, which comes out on Wednesday. But let us start with the wonderful magic of the FA Cup. So as it stays now, you have Burnley that was beaten by Huddersfield. You have Leeds that was taken out by West Ham. And of course, you have Cambridge United beating Newcastle in St. James Park. And the Gunners were gone from the third round by Nottingham Forest. But let us start with Burnley. It seems like every season they have been struggling and they're just managing to stay up. Is this the season they go down? I'll start with you, Mr. Hinder.
I was just waiting to find out who was going to start then. Burnley going down. I think I said they'd go down before. I don't think they're good enough to stay up. Aging squad. So unless they pull out some beauties in the transfer market, I think that they're going to struggle. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think sometimes a team needs to go down to rebuild to come back up. In their case, I don't think they've got the clout to afford to buy the players that they really want to be buying in order to improve the squad at a suitable level rather than just replacing one aging chap for another aging chap. So, yeah, I think they'll go down. But hopefully they'll stick by Dyche and then they'll ping straight back up the season after.
Well, Thanos, do you agree with Neil in the sense that they might go down and it might help them, they might come right up? Does Sean Dyche stay with them as a manager? Or because they have been saying, I mean, they will go down to the Championship and that means they will lose some money. I mean, right now they're in the Premier League and they don't have a lot of money. Do you think they will come back up straight up?
I think they need to change Dyche, to be honest. Need a fresh approach. He's been there a few years, done a good job. But I just think for them, the way they play is kind of like been sussed out in the Prem. So each year it gets harder and harder. They're struggling to score goals. And I think whether they go down or not, changing Sean Dyche, not to say he's a bad manager, he's doing what he's doing, but they just need something fresh. He's been there too long, I reckon.
Surely Dyche is playing with what he has, Mike. He's playing with the players he has. Is there a possibility with better players he might make Burnley even better?
Yeah, he could do. I mean, you never know what he can do. He can only work with the tools he's got. But it's like the law of diminishing returns. You got the same squad year in, year out. They're not getting any better in terms of him progressing them. They play a certain style of football. Everybody else gets better around them, possibly younger, fresher squads. different managers, different ideas, and they do exactly the same thing. So over a period of time, that's at some point it's going to catch up with them because nothing's changing, and it's catching up with them now this season. And like Neil says, they're probably goners, to be honest, because they've never scored goals. To be honest, never had an out-and-out goal scorer. Nobody knows why they just didn't try and buy one. Or
I mean, they have Chris Wood, they have Vidal,
out-and-out scorer, and there's nothing. There doesn't seem to be anything coming through the academy either to say, okay, at least we've got a pipeline. So it's a lot of diminishing averages, diminishing returns. At some point, it's going to catch up to them, which it has now, and then they're going to go down. I don't even think they will even come up straight away. In the championship, that's not a given. Just because you're an ex-Prem team doesn't mean that you're gonna just easily push aside other championship teams when you go down.
Yeah, obviously they will go down, they'll lose some money, they'll lose players. Mr. Thanos believes that Dyche's time has come to an end. But Neil, talking about, so if you had let's say you are the manager of Burnley, or not manager, you are whatever you are of Burnley, you own Burnley.
Okay.
Do you think going down if they do go down in the championship, is it a case of, okay, we're down, we need to come in with something new? So will you get rid of Sean Dyche and then try and revamp the team with younger players or try and add the experience or whatever? What would you do if they do go down?
There is one, I suppose, slight issue with Burnley. Sean Dyche has built a whole training facility. He's built everything around that club. He's trying to make the club ready for the future. I think Angry One made a good point. Have they got anyone coming through the academy? Like, genuinely, where's their academy players? Where are they? Southampton, year in, year out, have academy players that go through. They might sell them all, but they've got academy players, and that's kind of unfortunately been their ethos of getting rid of them. But that's a shame. But Burnley don't have that. They're going to struggle to sign the players from some of the other teams because it's Burnley. They're not that attractive in their style of football, which is a shame. I think they're probably good enough to go back up because the teams going down with them are pretty poor. I mean, Norwich are horrendous, right? And they've creamed the Championship a couple of times. So it just shows you that there is a big golfing level between. Sheffield United had that really good season where they came up, stayed up, under the team. But then the next season, it was harder for them, right? That momentum had gone. They hadn't built on it, and that's kind of the basis of it's a hard job to come back into the Premier League and buy players that are there for your full project, and you're not just buying players that want the extra cash, which unfortunately can be it. And then you end up buying a couple of 28, 29-year-olds who are just there for the money. Even in the early 30s, and then you've really not got anything that you really want. So from the financial point of view, going down isn't great. If you're the owner of the club, it's not great. But as a fan, maybe going back down and then coming back up and actually learning from it is a really, really key thing. And that's got to be the key of really what is their 5-year program. I've banged on about Arteta enough times about him having actually a program and a philosophy of what he wants to implement. That's the key thing with, I think, any club now. The fans want to see what's going on. How is that evolving their football? How is that actually going to work? And if you go down, I mean, it's never nice, but I would much rather see my team starting to play better football and building with whether from the academy than just signing anyone they can to try and stay up.
I mean, football is a business and all that, and the fans see it from a very different perspective. Thanos, as you like to see it from upstairs, as you call it, and downstairs, we have seen the power of managerial pool, which we'll talk about later with, Gerrard and inviting a certain player into his club. So if you do change Sean Dyche, would you go for a manager that you think is seasoned, people would respect, so you can attract certain players, even if he's on loan, and you're, believe in the whole Let's Start project, will come right back up? And Mike has mentioned that it might not be as easy as you think, but Neil has also mentioned Norwich has done it a couple of times. So could they get a new manager, attract new players if they go down?
They could get a new manager and attract new players. But Burnley's not got much to sell. Location, they're going to compete with teams not going to compete with Newcastle at the moment because Newcastle could actually
buy Burnley.
Buy players, yeah. But so they do need to get something like a manager who's got a project, even if it's youth, and stick with it and go with it for a few years. Similar to what they've done with Dyche. Dyche came in, he had a certain way of playing, and they've stuck with him. They've got him the players that would suit his style. But the thing is, he hasn't replaced those players. You know
Well,
what I mean? He's had me and Tarkowski at the back. He's had Wood up front, but it
I
needs
mean,
to.
he has been saying there's no money, there's no budget, blah 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 blah. He's doing what he can do. So I mean, with that, angry one, do you by any chance see them saving their season with this January window and just? I mean, they've only had one win all season.
No, if they save their season, it won't be because of purchases, because that's not really how they roll. I will say though, if they're gonna do a project rebuild and blah blah blah, youth and that, why can't it be Dyche? If he's saying that the reason why the squad is aging is because they've got no money, and they've
No, for me,
why can't
it could be Dash, but it's just a case of to change the philosophy of a club under the same managers.
Well, even the same philosophy, just younger, like a younger version of the team, because it's an aging team, isn't it?
Do you think one of the issues that he's got is keeping them up in the Premier League is key to the board? So the pragmatic approach that he takes with his players and the tactics that he plays is designed to keep them in the Premier League, not necessarily compete with the top half. So the philosophies and the joyous football that everyone likes to watch isn't really going to be associated, because they're not looking to do that, and that's kind of why that if they, for my opinion, if they went down, they'd be more free to do that, because they'd be winning more games, they'd be competing a lot more games, and the football would potentially be a lot more attractive for the fans to watch. So I believe that Dyche is in a rock and a hard place in order to get that out, because I can't see the board wanting them to go and play football.
I mean, now that you mentioned philosophy and all that, it just reminds me of a situation that happened with Stoke. When they had Pulis, they were safe, they were playing football, they were winning games. Now everybody decided, okay, you have done enough, you have kept us in the league, now we want attractive football. Mark Hughes comes in, has a wonderful first season. Everybody, whoa! And then before you know, attractive football, they start buying players, getting excited, money, yada yada yada, and Stoke is gone. Well, we do hope Burnley. I mean, it's good to have them in the league every now and then. I mean, they make you work for your win, and that's the one thing you can give Burnley. It's not just you hardly play Burnley and go, oh, it's a walkover.
But you still win though. The point is you still win. So
I mean, Man United they beat us twice at home 2 seasons ago. So I mean, I don't know but you never know. We shall see what happens. We never want anybody to go down.
Literally, Tottenham.
United.
That goes without saying. Just need to say it.
All right, no worries. Well, now speaking about the wonderful magic of the FA Cup and talking about trust to the process and making things work, blah blah blah. First of all, big shout out to Arsenal, all white strip, big initiative for the knife crime, led by Idris Elba and everybody else that's put in the work. So nice, congratulations to Arsenal, very nice. Making these things awareness, making people do that. You notice how only me and Neil clapped because the other two are still upset. Oh my God. Well,
also, none of us were wearing red anyway, so it kind of confused the issue a little bit there. And they were at home. So
and I think Arsenal did a massive thing for that. I mean, it was props for Arsenal for going ahead wearing that all white kit and everything else they've done. But to go and lose and give it more TV coverage as well, it was absolutely brilliant of them. I just couldn't believe that they went out there for that. So, props to the cause. They were fully committed.
Yeah, speaking about football, the difference is we saw Man City. Yes, I know they have world-class players, yada yada yada, and they put in a weakened team against Swindon, and they still showed who the Premier League team was. Now the question here is there a worry that Arsenal, being the club that they are, is there a worry that your weaker team or your second-string team cannot beat the likes of a championship team, or was this just a one-off that a championship team or the magic of the FA Cup just worked today? Mr. Thanos, what do you think?
Can I interject one thing there? Firstly, Swindon in the 4th division, so the League 2, so that's the 4th tier. Forest are a lot better of a team.
Yeah, no, but the point I was trying to make is that the Premier League team dominated all through. So I know the championship is way higher than Swindon, but I'm just saying, do you think it's a case that regardless of the team that turns out for Arsenal, they should actually win that game, Mr. Thanos?
Well, it's a game of football, so you can never say that they should automatically win the game, but they should have competed a lot better than what they've done today. They should have showed a lot more quality, fight, attacking intent. Just should have been a lot more about them than what they showed today in the game.
Was it a case of Arsenal played badly or Nottingham Forest just played really good? The angry one. What do you think?
they both played crap, but Nottingham Forest just played crapper, and they took their one chance. Sorry, not crapper, better. Sorry, less crapper, and they took their chance. Arsenal weren't at the races today. They were diabolical. No intensity, no effort. From the time you're taking off, Tavares after 35 minutes, that says it all.
Was he injured?
No, just
the thing is he wasn't injured, and if he was taken off because he was performing poorly, there's other people on the pitch could have looked at themselves and said it could have been me as well.
Yeah,
but the thing is, it didn't instill any reaction to the whole team, which you would think it would have done. They were just flat.
That team's good enough to beat Nottingham Forest 9 times out of 10, but they have to put the effort in. If you don't put the effort in, doesn't matter who you've got out there, you're gonna get done 1-0, 5-0.
So
whatever.
I mean, in a different perspective, and Neil, you always seeing things in a different format and all that. What does a manager have to do in terms of? I mean, if the boys are not just up for it and maybe traveling, whatever reason has been, we haven't played in a while, blah blah blah. Is this just a case of just the manager having to be instilled that you need to win this game feeling, or is it? Can we just blame the players?
I think Arteta will take a certain amount of blame on it. He's there. They were playing poor at half time. They didn't come out second half with any form of gumption or any better. You didn't go, oh, you know what? They look like they're up for it now. That was probably the biggest disappointment for it. I don't think anyone really minds when a team's having a bad day, but you want to see a little bit of something else in the second half, and they didn't. And it wasn't like Forest were at them or giving them a good go. It was a bit of a poor game to watch. It wasn't anything you're going to write home about. That showed to me the midfield tenacity is missing. They're still missing. I hate to say Vieira and Petit, but players like that, they're irreplaceable. They haven't got anyone in that midfield that's still running that show. They've tried El Neni and Partey, and it's still not happening. That the midfield for me is the real big weak point. And Nketiah probably showed his full capabilities today of why he is never making it anyway. I don't know. The ball just smacked him in the face. I don't understand. Even if he's offside by like 20 yards, he's still got to be putting those headers away. The chances he isn't good enough. I would say for Burnley, let alone Arsenal, and I think that's a sad thing. Lacazette came on, which why not give him a rest? He's 30. Not that that's old, but in the terms of footballing, he should be had a hell of an afternoon off, and the other players should be taking a mantle. Leno played well in goal, which was a nice thing to see. But the biggest disappointment for me was I was watching the Cameroon Burkina Faso game, and the wife wanted to watch the Arsenal game, so I had to turn over. And that was the biggest disappointment of my whole afternoon. Because the other one was far more interesting. It was a far better game, right?
The thing about the Nketiah thing is it's not even just his ability or he missed the chance. It's just his demeanour and his attitude. He just came across like, I'm above this. And he wasn't putting the graft in. And you should be thinking the other way, like, I've got my opportunity. Let me bang some goals away. Even if I'm going to get a move away from the club, let me raise my value. But his whole approach just seemed off. So
saying that, I'll throw this question. To Thanos and Angry One. So a couple of players gone to the Nations Cup. Yeah. So as you say, some players need to come up and, this is my chance. Get here and all these other guys. But is there a positive from this loss in the sense that you want to go for top, you want to make it in the 4th position this season? Yeah, only you have Liverpool to play in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup, and now you're out of the FA Cup, so you have extra time to rest, extra time to train. Do you think this will come as a positive for Arsenal? I'll start with the Angry One since you've already answered.
That's a flat no. It's irrelevant because playing in the FA Cup games would not have affected any of the other competitions you just mentioned. We've got 2 games against Liverpool, like you say. So what's the FA Cup got to do with that? Nothing really.
Generally.
Yeah, what I'm saying is you should be competing in every game. Winning breeds winning. It breeds positivity. You're playing Nottingham Forest. You're not playing City. Had a great performance against City when you should have won. Got skanked. Okay. Then you turn up to play against Forest. If they beat you, it's FA Cup. But you play like that, the performance, not even the result, because forget about the result, that could happen to anybody. But the performance was so below par, it's like you just expected to turn up and win. It's a joke. And we're talking about Nketiah increasing his value and all that other stuff, I'm sure that factors into their mind. But as a competitor on the pitch, playing people who you think you're better than, you should prove it. And that's it. It's nothing else to do with anything else or transfer fees and that sort of stuff. You should go out there because you scored a hat-trick against, was it Leeds? And you thought you were Ian Wright all of a sudden. Now you're playing Nottingham Forest.
Sunderland, I think.
No, who was it who scored a hat-trick against? Was it Leeds?
Sunderland, I think, yeah. Sunderland. Yeah,
Even,
but either way, okay, so what do you think, Thanos?
So for me, there is a positive to come out of it, and the positive is that the squad's not good enough. So he needs to reinforce the squad, and that will be. I think. We've got 9 players out, just COVID, African nations, whatever it is. But I think he expected the players that he put in today to do much better, and that didn't happen. So that's going to be a glaring thing, obvious to him, to say there's still some work now I need to do on this squad. He may have the first 11 or first 12 bought into his philosophy, and he can get the reaction that he requires as per the Man City game. But when he needs to rest players, and he's going to have to do it over the course of a season, he needs to be able to have people that will come in and hit the ground running. And I can't think of anyone in the side today, apart from Leno, who seems that they're going to come in and hit the ground running.
But it's not really positive because he already knew that he already said that we're going to be active in the transfer window. So it's not like it's a surprise, regardless of.
I think the level of that performance.
But what does it change? Because regardless of the result today, he would have still dipped into the transfer window anyway to strengthen the squad. So we're trying to give it some silver lining, but there isn't one.
It's not giving it a silver lining. Based on today, I wouldn't be looking to keep Eddie Nketiah. I'll be looking to replace him. Before today's game, people would have said, Nketiah can still hang about. I wouldn't even play Nketiah again this season. I'll play Ballard.
He's never gonna play enough games for Arsenal to actually improve and see what the final article is, wherever he can be. He'll never play enough games. He's gonna play a game here, a game there. We'll never get a run of games.
Yeah, but his attitude when he comes in has to be on point. And today shows me that that's not gonna happen.
Well, I mean, Thanos sees some positive, Angry One doesn't. I'll ask you one last question about that game before we move on. Neil, is this one of them games that has exposed Arteta as a manager?
No. What it's exposed is a lack of tenacity, and again, a lack of midfield presence. Lack of depth on the bench was woeful. I mean, Lacazette really was the only player to come on that's going to have any impact in that when you see it. I don't know enough about the other youth players in the Arsenal team that were sitting on that bench, but they had enough with Odegaard, Saka, and Martinelli to win any. You would want to say to challenge in any Premier League game, let alone beating a Championship team that aren't really setting the world alight at the moment. So
no shots.
Exactly. So there's a lot in there that's
on target.
Well, yeah. Well, shots wide don't really make a difference, do they? But there's only one stat that counts, right? I would be more disappointed with that losing against Notts Forest than Newcastle should be losing against Cambridge, because the performance was that bad for Arsenal, and the lack of passion to me is the only thing that ever concerns me with it. And I think that's, again, they're missing that G up in the park, that presence that every team needs. Roy Keane, the Vieiras, you want that, and that it's just so evidently missing. And I know there's a new philosophy and that they play in a different way, and the manager's a lot more friendly than the old managers of. But you still need the players to have some responsibility. And I'm not sure if they've got 4 or 5 players in that dressing room that put their arms around the players or kick them up the bum or do anything like that. And that's, to me, is the big concern, or even if the players would cope with that type of mentality there. And I'm not an Arsenal fan, so
you sure?
Really worry me. Yeah, I promise. I was cheering. Notts Forest scored. I was like, hey!
But the worst thing about it is that they didn't even play. I mean, they played so below their actual ability. It was shocking. So if they played to the best of their ability and we still lost, you'd say, okay, you've got an issue with the squad, they're not good enough. But they were just so below it, and I think it was a mentality thing. You just thought you were better than you are. You just turned up thinking, I'll win the game. Don't matter.
And they
yes or no, keeping it brief,
well,
Mr. Thanos? Yes or no, keeping it brief, Mr. Thanos? Did this game expose Arteta as a manager?
Nope.
Okay. Angry One?
Nope.
All right. Well, it didn't affect him as a manager, so we will continue to trust the process, ladies and gentlemen, and hopefully things will move better even for Arsenal.
I don't know why you're smiling when you go.
Man,
Run
I'm always smiling. I'm smiling, and I'm not going to say much because we're playing Villa tomorrow. So I'm trying to be cool. But big shout out to Kidminster Harris, National League team for beating Reading in the FA Cup. Yeah, yes, Neil. Is there something you want to say?
Yeah, you sounded like you introduced a DJ. do you mean Kidminster Harris, right?
Harris. Yeah.
Kidminster Harris. Yeah, he's in the house, man.
Yes.
Kidminster Harris. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, and of course Hartlepool United beating Blackburn. Yeah, or Blackpool. One of them. Championship team.
Blackpool goes Battle of the Pools. Hartlepool v Blackpool.
Oh yeah, the Battle of the Pools. I like it. See, well, it is truly the magic of the FA Cup and all that story. So now, staying in the magic. Staying in the magic. Newcastle finally signed Kieran Trippier. He said he was enjoying his time in Spain, but he got the call. He couldn't pass up the opportunity to play for what's his name? Eddie Howe. And that he just felt it was time. Yeah, that's what he said. I mean, he couldn't pass up the opportunity to play for Eddie Howe, and it was time for him to come back and make a difference in this wonderful club. He started that game against Cambridge United. They had a very strong 11, which is pretty much the 11 that is going to play unless they're, getting some new players. Cambridge United wins the game, 1-0. Same question. We have said they're probably going to go down and going to be one of the richest. No, Neil said they're going to stay up. Neil said they'll stay up. But does this give them a chance? They're out of cup competition, so now everything is the Premier League. They seem that they want to buy certain players. Neil, have you changed your mind about Newcastle?
No, they're still staying up. There's two things for Newcastle. Newcastle are in a relegation battle, so they're in a completely different place to Arsenal. Godsend for them being out. Does anybody want to go out the FA Cup to a lower league team? Not really, but their silver lining is they need as much time to play their games, to prepare for their games as possible compared to everyone else, especially if they get in 5 or 6 players. They've got to have that time, and I think they'll get that time on the training ground by not playing so many games. So for me, a blessing. They weren't bad, Newcastle, in that game. Let's not think that it was a boring game. They were quite unlucky. They're definitely missing a striker without a doubt. St. Maximin can't play up front, can't finish. His crossing is a little bit woeful. He's got some good pace and he's got some step overs which pretty much go across the world. His legs are that tall, but he's definitely he's a great pushing forward. Joelinton in midfield still good for me. Kieran Trippier coming to Newcastle, playing under Eddie Howe. Diego Simeone, hard-nosed manager. I can imagine that was a little bit different for him, learning new languages and being over there. He's won stuff now. So Newcastle are a big club. Let's not forget that. They've got a great fan base, 50,000 week in and week out. They absolutely love the football up there. It's a great footballing city. So, yeah, I think they are a big club. And playing for Eddie Howe, who got Bournemouth playing decent football, he wants to play attractive football, is a little bit of a pull. Leaving Atletico Madrid, we were all like, well, where would you rather be? But he's probably homesick to a certain extent as well. Coming back to England is going to give him wonders. And that was a good baptism of fire for him. They're going to get some good players in. I have no idea what your question was. I'm now rambling on about.
I was just about. I mean, you did answer the question. You still think they're going to stay up? You still think this was just a flash and it would do them some good? Angry on, what do you think? Kieran Trippier, new signing, plays against Cambridge United. You think? I mean, yes, I know they are. And you mentioned, the more you win, the better it is. Morale. Was this a game they should have just won?
I mean, it's a game that they probably should have won on paper, but like everyone else is saying, they should have won, and maybe it builds confidence and blah blah blah. Like I said, for Arsenal, but they're not in the same place as Arsenal, and ultimately, what matters to them most, bottom line, is staying up. So they were never in contention to win the FA Cup. Arsenal are in contention to win the FA Cup, or could have won the FA Cup. So they're thinking, let's win it. Newcastle are just thinking, how far can we go? But what's the point of that when you're getting ready?
How far can we go? Sorry, that was just
that's terrible. You can't sing. But anyway, so they're not in the same stratosphere or thinking as Arsenal. or anybody that could possibly potentially win the FA Cup. If it was semi-final, quarter-final, maybe you start to dream, but it's not. It's like third round. So they lose the game.
Are you saying, so yes, you did mention that they're not in the same boat as Arsenal and everybody else, and nobody probably have pointed out Newcastle can win the FA Cup. But surely the players don't go in with that mentality, Thanos. Do they go
No.
They don't go in with that mentality that, oh yeah, but they go in and say it's a football game, let's win the football game, right?
Yeah, no, they played yesterday to win the football game. The Cambridge goalkeeper played a blinder. Pulled off some really good saves. So it's not for the want of they didn't create anything. They did. Getting Trippier in is a good starting point for them because he's a current active player that's wanting to still play for England. He's up there probably in the top 5 English fullbacks present day. So it's a good sign for them to get in the door. To be honest, it leads the way for them to get in other quality.
They seem to be linked with Lucas Digny. I don't know if that's how it's said. Yeah. Do you think so? Clearly, the approach that they're looking at the moment is that they seem to be going to, let's sort out our back, and then maybe they'll move forward and get like a midfielder or something. I don't know how many players they're going for, but with Trippier in, Digny coming in to play the left or where
he's going to Villa now.
Oh yeah, that's true. The Villa seems to be in the top position to sign him. Stephen G. pool. We'll get there. So if Newcastle approach, what's the approach here? Build the defense, then, because they clearly need a striker with Callum Wilson out for 8 weeks and Joe Linton moved to the midfield. So Trippier is supposed to be the one to attract all these other guys, and let's see, we can stay up money and all that. But are you as optimistic as Neil, Mr. Thanos?
They need to sort out that defense, man. They need to. If they sort out the defense, get a striker in, they've got a good chance to stay up. The midfield, I think they've not got the best quality in there at the moment, but they've got Shelby who can pass, Willock who can run about and pass. They've got some decent players who can do something. And if all they have to do is focus on being in midfielders, then there'll be a lot better showing than what they're doing at the moment. But with the way they're leaking goals at the back and can't score up front, that's the 2 places that they need to address.
What do you think, Angry One? Are you as optimistic, or are they still going down regardless, or this might just be the start, a turnaround?
It's sort of defense, because the first thing you need to do to not get relegated is make yourself hard to beat. To be honest, don't give away goals. You can always nick one. But if you're gonna just give away goals all the time, it doesn't matter how many goals you score, because you're gonna let some in the other end. So they need to sort it out. If they sort out their defense, because they've played games where they've just been a bit unlucky and got a draw when they could have got a win, or just narrowly lost out. So I think the defense is key to it's the building block, isn't it, for everything else? Like you say, the midfield is okay; it can do a job. But they'll need somebody in there to sort that out at some point as well, and they'll need somebody to put away the goals. But you got to start somewhere. So they've started with Trippier. Looks like they might not get Denier, whatever. But then they're going to bring in at least 5 players anyway, and I guarantee one's going to be a midfielder and one's definitely going to be a striker.
Well, let's see what happens. Neil is still optimistic. Thanos is doing the whole not sure. Angry One is also doing they need to, but we shall see what happens moving forward.
The key thing with Newcastle is they're not at the same budget as they've got the money, right? But they don't need to buy a £100 million forward to get them out of where they're at. They need a forward that can get 10 goals. That's it for the rest of the season. And that might only cost them 30 million, opposed to looking at the top end players at like 70, 80 million. So they're in a different market to a lot of the top guys, which is going to be a massive benefit for them. So they only need a striker for this season. Next season. And you're driving him there, right?
If you think about it, Burnley needs goals, Norwich needs goals. Out of the 3 of them, who's going to get the player? It'll be Newcastle.
Well, let us leave it there, and we shall see what happens in the next couple of weeks with the wonderful fixtures coming up. So we're just going to move briefly towards our wonderful good friends, Leeds, who got kicked out by West Ham United with the FA Cup, losing 2-0. Leeds, you have to say their ultimate plan here is to stay in the Premier League. So when you look at Burnley, relegation, they're out. Leeds relegation or fighting relegation, they're out. Newcastle fighting relegation, they're out. And Arsenal looking to stay in the top four, and they're out. So with Leeds though, any surprise to losing to West Ham with the way they have been playing for the last couple of games? And is it going to get to the point that they're going to start? I mean, I'm sure right now they're looking over their shoulder, but are they safe? And once again, is this a positive for them? The fact that they're out of the cup and they can just concentrate on Premier League football. I'll start with you, angry one.
I guess the general view is if you can't win it and you've got other priorities like survival priorities, then coming out of the FA Cup is a blessing, isn't it? So from that point of view, I mean, it's one less game or two less games, whatever it is, depending that you can get injuries and blah, 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 and they can focus on staying in the league. So I think it's similar to, well, it's along the same veins as the Newcastles, but they're not in as much of a pickle as those teams. I don't think they'd be upset about going out, especially not to West Ham. They could lose to West Ham any day of the week. There's no shame in that. It's not Cambridge. It's not bloody Nottingham Forest. So. No.
What do you think?
What is it?
What do you think, Mr. Thanos? Is this same questions, blessing in disguise? They might be able to concentrate. Is this going to give them a push? They might,
I don't know if it changes much for them, to be honest, going out. I don't think they're expected to beat West Ham. They would have liked to, because all teams like to go on a cup run. But I don't think they're expected to beat West Ham, especially given the way they've been playing. There are concerns about them just continuing to drop down the league, especially with key players out for them. It's how far does it go before they say they're in crisis or in the relegation battle. I think what you're seeing with Leeds this season, there's more of a weight of expectation on them to do well in games and get results. Before that, it was more like free flowing, outrun teams and get results. But this season, there seems to be a weight.
I mean, this season has shown that regardless of how wonderful they want to play in terms of high energy, they definitely they have key players that actually make that work. So no, those key players seem to be injured, but it's business with Leeds though. I do see them as they'll play the same way regardless, and I'm very sure the players didn't go out thinking, oh, let's get kicked out of the FA Cup, but when you have a team that is going to play the same way, regardless of injuries and all that, Leeds seem like they're not going to change. The manager's not going to change anything. If they do stay up, Neil, what do you think they should change? What do you think they should tweak? Should it be a case of, I mean, Marco Bielsa likes to sign 1-year contracts, and he doesn't sign anything major. Do you think we've gotten to the point that maybe they might want to try something new?
I mean, no disrespect to Leeds being a Wednesday fan. Obviously, no disrespect. Who else did they get in that's better than Bielsa, right? He is well respected and well regarded with pretty much every footballer across the world. So unless they're going to get a massive name in who's suddenly out of the hat like Zinedine Zidane, that's suddenly going to turn up at Leeds, isn't really going to happen. Pep's not going to leave Man City. So there's got to be realistic about who do they get as a replacement. They don't want to do what Norwich did, sack Daniel Farke and getting Dean Smith, right? That's not anything that's going to do them any favours at all. They need to be pragmatic about that. Leeds need strength and depth, like a lot of the clubs do, and that will do to their scouting, getting players in that Bielsa can trust, and it's about him building a team, and that's definitely harder, and I think maybe they're a bit more selective about who they actually get in. They have been without Bamford as well, so they've been missing their talisman. Leeds, for me, though, have got a big next 4 games. They've got West Ham, Newcastle, Villa and Everton. And at the moment, none of those clubs are really thriving. 2 of them potentially could do some damage. West Ham, I think a good cup win, and then winning the FA Cup is a fantastic season. Moyes might say top 4 is a fantastic season, but the fans either way are going to be happy with an FA Cup win or a top 4. I don't think they'll get both. But Leeds next Sunday against West Ham will be interesting to see how they play in the league against them, opposed to how they've performed today. The game today was poor. It wasn't a good game at all. But I think, like Thanos said earlier, why did Leeds want to win that at the moment? Like, just make sure we're comfortable. They're 8 points above relegation. We're talking like they're having a really, really bad season. I think it's worse than their last season, but last season was a great season, way above expectations. So they're going to slip down a bit.
Well, we shall see. We shall see. Well, we'll say goodbye to those Premier League teams, and tomorrow, one Premier League team might stay, and one will definitely go. And let's talk about one of those teams. So this is what I call. I mean, personally, I call this the LinkedIn signing. Just go on LinkedIn and check, your network. Who can I bring into the club? And of course, the Steven Gerrard pool has been wonderful for Villa. These things seem to be improving. They seem to be playing well, and we would like to welcome back Philippe Coutinho. He's back on loan to Aston Villa. 29 years old. The first question people are asking is, does he have, he's back here to prove that he's still a top player? Angry one, does he have anything to prove in English football, considering the fact that he was so wonderful at Liverpool?
No, I don't think he has anything to prove. I don't know who's saying, I don't know who's even asking him that question, to be honest. He just wants to play football again. So he's come to Villa. Villa seems a good fit in as much as he's like a marquee signing for them. Should play every week. Week out, they can build. He's a lone player, so they can't really build a team around him. But you know what I mean? He can be their go-to guy. So it's a good fit. He's playing under a former colleague as well, who knows his attributes well. So it's really a good fit. He's just going to play football and play well or not. He doesn't really have anything to prove because they sold him for 150 million at his peak. So I mean, I think he's done what he needs to do. I don't think he has anything to prove. And he plays well for Villa. So what? What is that really? What? It's Villa. So, yeah.
Well, he's 29 years old, Mr. Thanos. Things didn't really work out in Barcelona, even if he won the league and some other things. And hello?
Yeah.
What's that echo? Anyway, and things didn't really, didn't really work out in Bayern, even if he won the Champions League. However, he's back in Villa. Gerrard doesn't particularly play like Dean Smith. So is he the replacement for Grealish, Mr. Thanos?
In terms of that, they could possibly put everything through him. Then yes, I liken him more to a Jorginho going to Middlesbrough signing to lift the club. Does he have something to prove? I think he has something to prove to himself that he can regularly play football for the next 6 months and really grab hold of things. Because I think he's just been, whether it's unlucky, things haven't worked out, as you said, Barcelona, Bayern Munich. It just didn't work out the way he expected him to, especially when he left with such a huge price tag and being on top of his game when he left Liverpool. So I think he's got some things to prove to himself, to put himself in the window and say, yes, I'm still a top draw player, and that the big clubs around the world should be looking at me.
Is this risky? Is this risky from Gerrard in the sense that, yes, he's trying to show that Villa want to go up, they want to start competing with everybody else, and his brother Coutinho, who we understand has high wages and all that. That's why a lot of other clubs didn't go for him. But is this risky in the sense that, worst case scenario, this doesn't work out? This is bad for, who's it bad for more, Gerrard or Coutinho? Can't hear you.
There's a few things with the Coutinho one. I don't think he had a bad season when he went to Munich. 38 games and 11 goals, and a couple of medals. He'll put that good as good on his resume. He was going to be worth a lot more than he's worth now at that particular point. So was that one of the reasons why Munich didn't go in and actually make it permanent? Aston Villa have got him on loan. It's a no-brainer, right? Like, what club in the Premier League wouldn't take him on loan? He's reduced his wages for it, and with an option to buy, should it work out at the end of the season, of 40 million. Now, if Villa go down, they don't want to be lumbered with 160 grand a week's wages of Coutinho or whatever he's currently on. So that makes great business sense from Villa's point of view. Maybe it doesn't work out for him if Coutinho goes, you know what, actually I'll go somewhere else at the end of the season, or I'll look for someone else. So it works out good for him. The onus is only going to be on him. I think it's an absolute great signing for them. They're missing after Grealish is gone. They need that. They need that creative flair. And even if he swans around the pitch and pings a few balls, he will get assists left, right, and centre, providing they can just pop the ball in the back of the net. So, I mean, that's literally all they need to do now. He is that good. I don't think, other than City, he would fit in every single starting lineup without a doubt. He's that good. He might have been not played enough, and Barcelona are in all sorts of problems as well. They need to get rid of players to sign players because of the wage cap and everything else that's going on there. So it makes sense. Why, if he's not in the plans there, let him go. And so I think it's a win-win-win. And I think great for the Premier League to have him back. And he has nothing to prove to anyone else other than sell lots of shirts. And if he is as good as Jorginho was at Middlesbrough, love that back in the day. That'll be brilliant for Villa. And why not have a little bit of romance in football again, what we all want.
So, I mean, Villa seems to be like they're improving their squads, depth in squads and all that. You can play this, you can play that. And it say Villa beats United tomorrow, Thanos, is this a thing of we can actually go for this cup? We seem like we have the squad to do this and we have quality. I mean, and especially if they get like Digny in, they have Ings, Watkins, Coutinho, Digny.
I think Steven Gerrard's thinking that now. I wouldn't even think it's not beat Man United and then we think we can beat the cup. I think Steven Gerrard's the kind of player that who would love the FA Cup, so it would translate into his management, and he would want his team to do a good run in the cup because he knows the impact it can have on them.
Okay, well, it's looking nice. I mean, their next 2 games is against Man United, so in the FA Cup and in the league, which I don't understand who makes these fixtures. I mean, the managers come in, the morale is high. I don't understand why they have the players. They could have played, I don't know, anybody else. Like,
and the thing is, Gerrard's going to want to beat Man United.
Oh, he's probably training right now like he's going to be a substitute. The man is going to be in there. So
JJ, before you move on, that's a good point I want to ask you because I know you like to sit on the fence a lot. You've just said that Aston Villa have got a new manager in and there's a good buzz around it. Isn't there another club that's just got a new manager in?
No, he's only been there 5 games.
Like should still be on the up, right? You should surely still be on the buzz.
No, but when you think about it, Rangnick has lost one game. He's lost 1 game, and yes, you could say that the performance is terrible. His style of play. But I mean, with the terrible performance and just losing once, and his style of play hasn't actually been put in well. I don't think it's all doom and gloom. Now, my only problem with new manager and the buzz and all that story is I think it clearly shows one thing: the players need to take accountability for their performances, because Man United has had 3 managers this season, 3. So I mean, unless you're telling me that all 3 have been terrible, I mean, Solskjaer, you could argue, oh, tactically it was this, it was that. That's fine. Carrick comes in. Doesn't lose any game, 3 games. And for some reason, Carrick comes in and that's probably one of the best 3 games Man United had. Ragnick comes in. Oh, I asked some episode back whether that term interim is an issue, because the boys are just looking like it's 4 months left now. It was 6 months a couple of weeks ago. So I don't think it's all doom and gloom yet, but I do think 4th position is out for Man United.
And weren't they rumoured in the paper today to say they weren't going to be spending any money over Christmas?
Yep. So
they're only going to do it in the end of the season.
The rumour is that there's no buys this January. So, but that's the rumour right now. So we have no idea what's going to happen, and we shall see.
Wow.
But it's not all doom and gloom yet. I don't think it's all doom and gloom, and I think it's just, especially if the guy is going to leave at the end of the season.
Yeah, for me, the Man United thing is. The concern is what's coming out the dressing room. Even though you've just got a new manager in, and people are already saying we're not united, we're not together, and different players. That's more of a concern than actually what they're putting in on the pitch.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask one question about Coutinho before Neil threw in Ralph. What will make it a bad season for Coutinho, in the sense that, because we seem to be very driven by statistics and how many assists and how many this and how many that. So statistically, angry one, what will make it a bad season or a bad loan move for Coutinho?
Well, for him, because he's a creative player, so it's a little bit different. So I guess it depends how they want him to play. If they want him to be the player who dictates play, then it's going to be hard to find the stats to back up whether or not he's doing a good job, because unless you're looking at how many complete passes or something like that, you can't really see how he's controlling the game. If it's just the black and white goals and assists, which is what people generally look at, that's what he's there to do, then that's what you'll judge him on. But I think he's going to be more. I think he's going to have a bigger influence on the way that they play, which is a little bit more harder to judge.
So you agree with that, Mr. Thanos? Because the reason I asked that is 2 seasons ago, Henderson was probably mentioned as one of the best midfielders in the country. Statistically, didn't have that great. So I want to know what statistically what would be bad for Coutinho that makes it a terrible season.
I think if he's had no assists and no goals, that'll be bad because
Possible.
Say again.
I think that's gonna be impossible.
No, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what it'll be bad for him. If he goes to Villa, has no assists and no goals, I'll be shocked and I'll say that's a flop. Yeah. But I expect him to have a lot of a good number of assists, especially a high percentage of what Villa create, and get some goals. He's going to put a couple of free kicks in, and you're going to see the influence of him on the pitch, the way the team work around him. So that's the three things I expect to see as he's come to Villa. He's just going to draw it.
And also these days they have the other stats, like big chances created. You remember one season, Ozil was making so many chances, but we just weren't finishing it. But that's not Ozil's fault. He's creating chances.
Yeah, I just think that he's going to have an impact on the whole team, the whole club. That's why I likened it to the Jorginho going to Middlesbrough. I just think he will lift everything and make them believe even more. Yeah, the Villa's doing good under Gerrard, but this is a world-class guy in probably the peak of his powers coming to play at Aston Villa. So everyone must step up, in my view.
Okay.
And it's not to say they haven't got a bad set of players there already.
And they're still signing people as well.
It is all good. I mean, they still look like they're going to sign more. Neil thinks it's going to be a win-win for Villa. And everybody thinks he's going to lift the club and do wonderful things. Let him just lift the club from next week, Monday, not tomorrow. That's it. Is. That's all we need him to do. Let him live in next Monday. But,
and you know what? As he's an ex-Liverpool guy as well.
He loves to play against Man United.
There you go.
So yeah, but
Would you rather lose the FA Cup game or the Prem game?
FA Cup game.
But you said that you can't get top four, so why would you not want to stay in the FA Cup then?
Because it gives us an. I said it doesn't mean it will happen, but it gives us an extra push. Okay. The thing. One of the reasons I don't think top four, Man United get top four, is that it's not a case of it just being in Man United's hands. It's Tottenham there. Tottenham wins their 2 games in hand. They're above Arsenal. Will they stay up? We don't know. But then the one thing we're sure will happen in Man United is we're not playing well. So it's not a case of, we're going to fight till the end. And, maybe, the good playing will come. Nope, we're not. So, and we're still in the Champions League. So,
Ronaldo.
We shall see. Viva Ronaldo.
And you said earlier that, he's had 5 games and he's lost 1. I mean, you've played some absolute terrible teams recently.
Arsenal, Norwich, Watford.
Yeah. I mean, and the only team that tried against you was Newcastle.
That tried? Man. Draw, you didn't even see the game against Man United. 1-3-1 against Burnley. If you don't watch that game, you're thinking, oh wow, these guys seem like they're good. Burnley had enough players out, injuries, COVID. I mean, they had to bring Lennon back to play that game, and he scored against Man United. So, and they created 1 or 2 chances. So it wasn't even a convincing win. And you're thinking, this is an issue right here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I said the only team that's tried against you has been Newcastle.
Yeah, but those are the only teams we've played at the moment. And unless something changes, it might be an issue.
Ronaldo will be in charge by the end of the season.
No, there's rumors that he's already held crisis talk with his agent.
He over yesterday.
Yep. So we shall see. Anyways, Coutinho back in the Premier League. Trippier to help Newcastle. We're speaking about the magic of the FA Cup. There's going to be endless football going on and on throughout the week. So we're going to look at a couple of fixtures. I mean, after the Man United game tomorrow against Villa in the FA Cup. And then, moving forward all the way, we have the EFL Cup on Thursday. Liverpool versus Arsenal. Let's try to forget what happened today, but where do we see that going? The first leg of the EFL Cup, Neil, what do you see? Where do you see that happen?
Who's home?
Liverpool's home.
Oh, I was about to say it doesn't matter. It's not like Emirates is ever rocking, right? And you go, listen to that. They're like the Newcastle fans. What do I think? I think it'll be a lot closer than people think. Mainly because Liverpool don't want to get players injured. They've got too many other important games going on. They might even put out a slightly weakened team just to go through. They'll rest a couple of players. I don't think it makes a difference to them. The team will still be better than Notts Forest, and I think Liverpool will beat them 2-1.
Okay, that's still an away goal, so you never know. Thanos, what do you see?
I'm going for a draw.
No, big call. Why?
I just think that Liverpool, as Neil said, with the weakened side, I think Arsenal put in a better account of themselves with most of the players that play today. It will be a better account of themselves, though, bearing in mind that we've got Tottenham on the weekend. So he won't. I don't think he will take the gamble and rush in players like Gabriel, Ramsdale. It will still be pretty much what we saw today. Maybe a different player up top, but I think it will be a closer game because I think Liverpool will be weakened significantly.
The angry one. What do you see? Nketiah starting that game?
God forbid. Play a false 9 if you want. Just
play Balogun.
No, isn't he on loan?
He hasn't gone it.
He's dead anyway. What's the difference? But just look. Just play Martinelli there or play Laka. That's it. I mean, because it's a bigger team, they'll be more up for it. Also, the team they'll be like a bit more of a game of chess. So, like you say, it will be a closer game. We don't often go to Anfield and get a win, regardless, even when they do play a weekend team. So the most I can hope for is the draw, really. I can't see us going there and spanking them unless they're playing their under 12s. Then, yeah.
All right, we shall see. Moving forward, with the wonderful endless games coming, and we now have Man City has a chance to literally push everybody down. 12:30 Saturday, 15th of January, Man City versus Chelsea. The angry one. What do you see?
Where is it?
Man City's home. Etihad.
But Tuchel has had Pep's number a few times last season anyway. I mean, I don't know. It depends. To be honest, it depends what Chelsea turns up.
Do you need more time?
You need more time to think.
No, it depends what Chelsea turns up, basically.
Okay, so
Man City win.
Man City win. Okay. And Neil?
Sure.
You know what? I think Chelsea are going to win. Man City are just due that loss at the moment. They're riding their luck too much, and I think Chelsea will just be at it. Now Tuchel and Lukaku are best friends and hugged it on Chelsea TV for everyone to see. That it was cringeworthy, but now they're best mates.
Did they hug on Chelsea TV?
Oh, mate, they showed. So he had an interview saying, "Oh, he didn't really want to leave, and he was just talking about like the future, etc." Which is, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But every time he talked, and then they cut like a little scene, he was walking down the corridor, and then he like hugged Tuchel, and I was like, "Oh, why have you put this in?" Right? It was disgusting. Mate, yeah.
Man City gonna win, man. Man City's warning was last week against Arsenal. That's gonna wake them up.
All right. Cool. Big game in the relegation battle. Newcastle versus Watford. I mean, I'm not going to ask Neil first because he probably thinks Newcastle will win. But Mr. Thanos, what do you think?
I'm going Newcastle.
Newcastle. Oh, okay. You think they'll do one over Watford? Yeah.
Yeah, at home. I think with St James's Park, the fans are always going to turn up, always going to support them, and I think they're really going to push them. And they're going to see things are going in the right direction. So I think they'll just get a result.
Okay. And the angry one?
Yeah, Newcastle win.
Newcastle win. Neil?
Start the revolution.
Neil, what do you think?
I was just waiting for everyone else. I mean, obviously Newcastle, right? They've got it in the bag, that game. They've already won the Premier League. Tino Asprilla's back. Absolutely loving it. Him and Ferdinand are just like living old glory days. No, I think Newcastle will be comfortable on that. I couldn't even tell you Watford's manager at the moment. They've had that many.
I knew he, man. But Watford, they just can see too many goals, man. Watford, so I think Newcastle.
Well, the return of Coutinho, and don't worry, I'm not going to ask you how tomorrow is going to go. Let's keep it for Saturday's game where Man United plays away at Villa's ground. What are we saying? What do you think, the angry one? Look at all of them smiling about it. Oh, they're going to get spanked.
No, you won't get spanked, but you lose.
Okay, thank you very much. The angry one. Scores. We will lose by how many?
2-1, 2-0.
2-1. 2-1 to nil. Mr. Thanos?
Villa win. I'll probably go 2-1. Yeah.
Neil?
Oh, we haven't touched on Phil Jones coming back for United. That was
What
absolutely
game?
amazing, right?
What game? What game?
We have to. I have to say that because he's been in the living nowhere. So Rangnick's has given him an opportunity, and man, did he flourish in that game. He looked 12 times the player that Maguire ever has been for them. But yeah, I'd love to see Coutinho nutmeg Maguire and then just chip it over De Gea, just on it, and that's it. I think they'll win comfortably, and I'm going to go for 3-0
Wow.
Villa, just in case you thought I was talking about United.
Ladies and gentlemen, we shall see. We shall see. You know, with the way I will sound for the next episode, you know who won that game. But we shall see. We shall see. And of course, the big one come next week, Sunday. The very big one, the Not London derby. Tottenham v Arsenal. Neil, is your missus going to be happy that Sunday?
Obviously, she's married to me.
No.
Do you know what? I think Spurs will do that game. I think they will. I think Conte is getting them playing slowly but surely. They were poor first half against Morecambe and managed to get the win. Harry Kane scored. He'll do his confidence some good. But yeah, I think Spurs are slowly, and I mean slowly, the pace of Harry Kane slow, going to go through. And I think he will start getting rid of players, which will be the blessing in disguise that they need.
All right. Mr. Thanos?
I think it'll be a draw. The North London derby.
You saying that means he thinks Tottenham are going to win, but he can't bring himself to say it.
No. I don't actually. I actually don't.
That's
think
exactly what I was thought.
I actually don't think Tottenham's going to win. I think Arsenal's strongest side. Who's missing? Partey's gone to the African Nations Cup. Yeah, but the rest of the side. The key thing is Xhaka being back, but the rest of the side should we don't know, but the rest of the side should be as per the Man City game, he should have a choice. So I think that side actually will do a job at Tottenham. I think they know how to play. They can play the intensity and not lose the game.
Does it pain you to say when Xhaka is coming back, he's like the talisman there now?
Say again?
Does it pain you that Xhaka is the talisman there and that you need him back?
While Partey's on African, yeah, it does pain me a bit. The thing is with Xhaka, he's just that
I like him.
He's got the right character. But it's like he's just too slow in everything he does, in thought, in execution, speed. And he doesn't adjust his game to do that.
How quick was he taking his shirt off and throw it on the floor? How quick was that?
Slow motion.
Well, first, Angry one, say what you think about that game. I just want to touch something on Xhaka.
We're going to win that game. There's no universe that I will ever say Tottenham are going to beat us.
Even if you know they will.
On live TV, no, never. Yeah, I'll say it behind closed doors. All right, yeah. But on this show, Tottenham can never beat us. I don't care what team we put out. It's impossible. No.
Okay, sweet. That seems like one of those a moment later moments, but we shall see. We shall see. Before we finish, though, I like the fact that you brought up Xhaka. Do you think he's victimized by refs? And I think one person I blame heavily is Gary Neville. Gary Neville attacks that guy up and down. Oh, he's going to give X amount of fouls. Because, I mean, the foul against Bernardo Silva, I didn't think it was a penalty. But I think the ref looks up and they see who it was and they were like, we need to check this again because it's Xhaka. Do you think he's victimized or because they just use his past history of terrible tackles and how he used to be? Well, what do you guys think? Neil, what do you think?
Go on, sir.
Yeah, it's all right. I don't think he's victimized in that way. He doesn't bring himself any glory of a lot of the challenges. He's, like you said earlier, he doesn't think quite quick enough for it. I'm not saying he doesn't have a good enough work ethic, but he's a little bit dirty. He likes to leave his foot in. He'll grab, he'll pull a shirt. and that's all going to be watched out for, and quite rightly so. But also Gary Neville does still support Man City as well as Man United. Whenever City are on, he's full Manchester through and through, regardless of what colour it is. So there is an element of that in there. But yeah, no, I don't think Jack is victimised at all. He's
Thanos?
no one.
I think he has got himself a reputation, so he will get the extra attention from referees and stuff. Regarding the penalty against Man City, I prefer the referee actually gave the penalty for the tackle and not for the shirt pull, because the shirt pull was already on his way down. So to me, it didn't make much sense. Bernardo Silva done him. Simple as that. But I do think he's a bit victimised.
Angry one?
But that penalty, sorry, angry one before that penalty, he shouldn't be doing that though, should he? He shouldn't be getting himself, and that's my problem with not the fact that whether he pulled him or not. He shouldn't be pulling in the box. He should know better than that, and that's to me is the thought.
Especially from an experienced international captain, to do that is very frustrating. You know what I mean? You if someone like Martinelli, Smith Rowe, Saka done that stuff, then no problem. But Xhaka, you're meant to be one of the guys that's leading the team, not doing that foolishness, and he does it time and time again.
I think that his reputation precedes him, so I wouldn't use the word victimized. That's a bit strong, but I do believe he doesn't always get the benefit of the doubt. There's two dynamics here. When you're a top class player, like say Gerardo or Scholes, you can get away with that sort of stuff. Scholes can headbutt you and probably not even get a yellow because he's Scholes. Yeah. Harry Kane can do that atrocious tackle and only get yellow when it's blatantly a red. Same thing with Mane. So I think it's hand in hand with ability and then also your reputation. So his reputation apparently is as a cynical player, dirty player, blah blah blah. So then you already have marks against you, and then he's not a top boy player. So then any benefit of doubt that he would probably get from that diminishes. So I wouldn't call it victimization, but I think. If it's a 50-50, Xhaka loses the benefit of the doubt because he's Xhaka.
Very well said, Mr. Angry.
I mean, that was woo. That was.
That's what I said.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us for this episode. Please like, watch, subscribe, and of course follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and we shall be here again with a wonderful episode. Don't interrupt me when I'm putting out promos. All right, people. Hope you have a very, very wonderful day. And it's goodbye from Mr. Thanos, Chris, Waddle, Hinder, and of course, the angry one. Goodbye.
Bye.